Hey, I'm Doug, and on behalf of everyone at Revv, welcome to the third video in the D20 Sound video series. This time around, we're checking out using the D20 as a drive pedal platform, and it does a great job of doing that. At the very top, you heard me using my Ibanez Gem Woody into the Revv G3 pedal, and then adding a little delay and reverb using the Boss GT1000 core straight out into the D20. Now, that sound is certainly shredalicious, but we want to go for a range of other tones using different instruments and different pedals. But before we do that, let's take a listen to the clean tone that I'm going to be using. One of my favorite things about the D20 is you do not have to use a speaker cabinet when or if you don't want to. And that's true whether you're playing live or in the studio thanks to the direct out. I am literally sitting in a hotel room in sunny Carmel by the Sea, right here in California, and I've got my D20, a pedal board, and I've got a Pro Tools rig, and I'm just recording direct. So what we're going to do with these demos, we're going to go from lower gain to higher gain. I'm going to do a couple of demos here. I'm going to fly in a couple of things I did at the home studio. What we're going to hear now is the Steel String Supreme. That's a pedal by Vertex, and is basically a model of a steel string singer, most famously used by John Mayer, so I'm using a Strat on that. And the way the D20 just takes this pedal, it just sounds great. Let's take a listen. At the beginning of the video, it was very important for you to be able to hear the bass tone. And that was done at my home studio using a pair of D20s, basically with all the controls at 10 o'clock, running at 20 watts, incorporating the power amp on the direct out. On one side, I was using a virtual model of the stock 112 open back cabinet. And on the other side, I was using a 412 Revv. So that combination of the 112 and the 412 made it super easy to kind of jump back and forth between different styles. Now on the demo you just heard that I did here in the hotel room, I was using the 112 model because it made the most sense to do that. All right, so this next demo is using the Kenny Wayne Shepherd Strat and the Ibanez TS10 Tube Screamer for something in the Texas vibe, and this amp just really took that to town. Let's take a listen. When people normally think of an 8-string, they have a tendency to think of something very large, chunky, and highly aggressive. For this one, I was actually doing something in a funkier vibe, and it's actually the rhythm track, if you will, for the jam that was at the top of the video and at the end. And it was done using my Ibanez 8-string into the Revv G2 pedal, which is the lowest gain Revv pedal, and it was kind of in the middle setting there, which is actually the lowest gain setting, but the point being is it's trying to get the guitar to sit in that right spot in the track. And so there's this kind of cool funky drum thing going on. And that also needed to play the right support role when I added the lead guitar using the G3. So being able to layer the different Revv pedals is a really cool thing. So this is basically the bass track of that. And what I love about the pedal was it just allowed me, with a little bit of flanger from the Boss GT1000 core, to kind of let that track just sit right where it needed to against the drums. Let's take a listen. Earlier in the video, I mentioned I was using virtual models of the Revv 112 open back speaker cabinet. It's basically the stock matching cabinet for the D20, as well as a Revv 412. And when you're kind of pairing them left and right like that, it's a really nice combination to basically be able to demo any kind of pedal. Now, I had a happy accident. On the John Mayer vibe, if you will, using the Steel String Supreme, I purposely used the 112 open back cabinet. And I'd intended, when I went to cut the demo for the Revv G4, to switch over to the closed back 412, but I forgot. And it wasn't until I was listening back and kind of went, oh, I blew it, and then I listened to it, I was like, this sounds great. Why does that matter? Well, first of all, it gives you a chance to hear this pedal into the D20 that I've got sitting over there on the hotel minibar. So the other thing about it is it also gives you an idea of what it sounds like into the stock cabinet, which is pretty darn ferocious. Let's take a listen. So before we fade out on the extended jam that you heard a little tiny bit of at the top of the video here, wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, thank you for checking out this video. Second of all, video number 4 in this series is going to be around using the D20 in the house of worship. Now, here's the thing. If you don't play at church, there's going to be a bunch of stuff we're going to cover, like stereo setups and using Helix with 4-cable method. So again, even if church isn't your thing, there's probably going to be a bunch of stuff we're going to be covering that you will potentially want to know about. And if you are a worship guy or woman, there's going to be a bunch of stuff we're going to be covering. It's going to be really cool. Look forward to that. All right. Now, as we fade out on this track, as a reminder, it's my Ibanez Gem Woody into the G3 into a pair of D20s. I'm using a little bit of delay and reverb from the Boss GT1000 core. And then the bass, if you will, BASE track is the 8-string with the flanger we talked about a little bit earlier. And kind of the most important thing I want to leave you with is, as you watch me playing and just kind of, the vibe of all these different pedals really allow me to get a bunch of my favorite sounds really easily. And that's the operative thing, is basically the amp settings never changed, but I was able to change guitars and switch pedals. And for me, I was very easily able to get the vibes that I was looking for. The right gear helps, absolutely. But here's the thing, is this amp is a big part of the right gear if you're looking for a great amp for a pedal platform. Thanks again for watching. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers.